This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
We say every morning in Psukei de Zimra, in Parakuf Mem Tes, the second to last of the Halalukas, when we pray for the downfall of the Rishayim, we say La'asois Bahem Mishpat Kasav. That we ask Ribbon Shalom to mete out, to dish out, to execute upon our enemies. Mishpat Kasav, written judgment. What is the meaning? What is the significance of Mishpat Kasav? What does it mean? Written judgment. Says Rav Shimon Schwab, Zechat Tzaddik Levracha, in his commentary to the Siddur Ion Yaakov, Ion Tefillah, that the Torah tells us in this week's Parsha that if you damage your friend, you need to pay ayin tachas ayin. Literally, an eye for an eye. Shein tachas shein, a tooth for a tooth. But we are familiar with the Kabbalah of the Torah Shabbat Peh, the Gemara in Baba Kama, Daf Pei Daled. That doesn't mean an eye for an eye, but rather it refers to mamain, monetary payment. So the Mishpat Kasav, the written judgment, is harsh, is strict, midas hadin. But the interpretation of the Torah Shabbat Peh, it's chesed, not ayin tachas ayin. Mamain, monetary payment. By the way, the Vilna Gaon explains that the remes to the Divrei Chazal, that you don't actually do ayin for an ayin, eye for an eye, but instead it's monetary payment. It says the Vilna Gaon, it doesn't say ayin be'ad ayin, but rather ayin tachas ayin. Says the Gaon, you have to take the oisiyos after ayin. After ayin yud nun. So after an ayin comes a pay, after a yud comes a chaf, after a nun comes a samach, pay, chaf, samach, kesef. It's a remes to the Divrei Chazal that it's mamain. But here we see that the written judgment is harsh, and the oral explanation is bechesed. We could add another illustration. The Torah says, Arbaim Yakenu, that the quota of Malkos is 40 Malkos. And yet we know the Gemara says in Masechta Makos, Daf Chav Beis Amud Beis, Asur Rabbanan Batzra Chada, that the Chachamim came along and they took away one. The Chachamim said it's not Arbaim Malkos, it's Arbaim Chasar Echad, 39. Again, the Mishpat Kasav is strict. Midas Hadin, 40 Malkos. But the Torah Shabbat Peh, the oral tradition, the Chachmei Yisrael, that's the Koyach HaRachamim, the Koyach HaChesed, and they say only 39. Says Reb Schwab, that is why a Sefer Torah, if it's missing even Kutzay Shal Yud, it's completely puzzle. The Rambam Paskins in Hilchos Sefer Torah, Perek Zayin Halacha Yud Aleph. A Sefer Torah that's missing an ois, or even Kutzay Shal Yud, Ein Boi Kedusha Sefer Torah Klal. It has no Kedusha of a Sefer Torah. Because the Torah Shebechsav is Midas Hadin. And there's no tolerance, there's no flexibility, there's no acceptability for imperfection. But the Torah Shabbat Peh, you're allowed to teach it b'chol lashon. You could add a word, you could take away a word for enhanced explanation. Because the Torah Shabbat Peh is Midas Harachamim, Midas HaChesed. Says Reb Schwab, the analogy is that just like when the Rebbeinu Shalom created the world, he saw the world cannot exist but Midas Hadin, so he combined it together with Midas Harachamim. So too, the Rebbeinu Shalom combined together with the Midas Hadin of the Torah Shebechsav, the Midas Harachamim of the Torah Shabbat Peh. If you look in another one of Reb Schwab's Svarim, the Me'ein Beis HaShoeva, his commentary to Chumash, in Parshas Kiseitze, says Reb Schwab, that is why throughout Shas, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is referred to as Rachmana, the merciful one. Not in the Chumash, only in Shas. Because the Torah Shabbat Peh emanates from the Midas Harachamim of the Rebbeinu Shalom, and that's why only in Torah Shabbat Peh is Rebbeinu Shalom referred to as Rachmana. The most oft repeated expression in the Chumash is a pasuk that appears more than 70 times. Vayedaber Hashem el Moshe Lemar. How strange. Dibor is usually understood to mean Dibor Kasha, harsh speech. Lemar, Amira is usually understood to mean Amira Raka, soft speech. Well, what is it? Is Torah Dibor? Is Torah harsh? Or is Torah Amira? Or is it soft? Says Rabbeinu B'chaye in Parshas Boy, Parak Yud Gimel Pasuk Aleph, Torah is both. Torah Shebechsav is Dibur, and Torah Shebal Peh is Amira. Says Rabbeinu B'chaye, the Mikubalim understand such a thing. The Mikubalim understand Torah Shebechsav is Dibur, Torah Shebal Peh is Amira. By the way, for a dissenting view, you could see the Malbim in Parshas Va'era, Parak Tes Pasuk Aleph. Comes the Vilna Gaon, comes with Baruch Tu'um and Frankel, in the Drasha is Baruch Tam, and they both say, we don't need the Mikubalim to explain why Torah Shebechsav is Dibur and Torah Shebal Peh is Amira. It's exactly what we've been explaining. Torah Shebechsav is Midas Hadin. That is why Vayidaber. Torah Shebal Peh is Midas Harachamim. That's Amira. Every mitzvah has two components to it. Every mitzvah has two chalakim. Vayidaber is the Torah Shebechsav. Leimar is the Torah Shebal Peh. That's why a mitzvah is introduced. Vayidaber Hashem Moshe Leimar. Says the Vilna Gaon, says Rabbi Tu'um Frankel, that we know throughout the lifetime of David HaMelech, David is constantly being challenged. His lineage is constantly being challenged by Doeg and Achitophel. They say, David, you're not Roy Lavoi B'Kahal. Doesn't the Chumash write explicitly? Lo Yavoi Amoini Umayavi B'Kal Hashem. It's a pasuk in Chumash, and David, your great-grandmother is Rus Hamoyaviyah. Says the Gemara in Yevamos, until Yeser HaYisraeli stands up, and he girds himself with his sword, and he announces, Kach Mekublani Nideis Dino Shel Shmuel Haramasi, Amoini V'loi Amoinis, Moyavi V'loi Moyavis. Yes, the Torah Shebechsav, the Midas Hadin of the Torah Shebechsav, does not allow David Lavoi B'Kahal. But the Midas Harachamim of the Torah Shebal Peh is Amoini V'loi Amoinis, Moyavi V'loi Moyavis. The Torah Shebal Peh does allow David Lavoi B'Kahal. Says the Gaon, the Vilna Gaon can be found in his Divrei Eliyahu on Tehillim. Says the Vilna Gaon, says Rabbi Tu'um Frankel, you ready for this? This is the meaning of the Psukim in Tehillim Parak Kuf Yotes. Sarim ridafuni chinam umidvarcha pachad libi. Sa noichi alim rasecha kemoitze shalorav. Says David, Sarim ridafuni chinam. The princes pursue me. Doeg, Achitophel, they challenge my lineage. Umidvarcha pachad libi, says David, Ribono Shel Olam, I'm afraid of your dibur. I'm afraid of the Torah Shebechsav that says, Lo Yavoi Amoni Umayavi B'Kal Hashem. But when I see the Torah Shebal Peh, when I see the Amira, when I see Amoni V'loi Amoinis, Sas Anoichi Al Imra Secha Kemoitze Shalorav, I rejoice over your Amira like one who finds abundant spoils. Because the Midah of Torah Shebal Peh is the Midah of Rachamim. The Koyach of the Chachmei Yisrael is the Koyach HaRachamim. Says the Gaon, that's why throughout Shas, Amar Abaye, Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, not Diber Abaye. Because in the Gemara, in Shas, Torah Shebal Peh is Midas HaRachamim. Coming back to Rav Schwab, he writes in his Ian Tefillah, that is why when it comes to Amalek, the Torah demands, Kisoiv Zois Zikaron Basefer. It has to be put black on white. It has to be Torah Shebechsav. Because the destruction of Amalek is Midas Hadin, absolute justice, without any Rachamim. And this, again, explains Rav Schwab, is the meaning of our request. La'asois bohem mishpat kosov. That the Rebbeinu Shem should mete out to our enemies written judgment. Judgment of din. Judgment of dibur. Judgment without any tolerance. Torah Shebechsav. La'asois bohem mishpat kosov. All the Sonei Yisrael should have a mapala. The Haramas, Karen Yisrael, Rabbi Askal, Tzedek, and Hervi Aminu.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.